Welcome to Warhammer 40k 8th edition Battle Report 50, 1500 points, Space Wolves vs. Tau Empire. This is the chapter-approved Eternal War mission, Dominate and Destroy, and we will be rolling for a random map deployment today. Let's begin by taking a quick look around the board at where each of the objective markers have been placed. Beginning in this 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed up here next to this ruin. In this middle 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed down here next to this crater. In the third 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed down here next to this crater. Over on the other side of the board, in this 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed up here next to this crater. In this middle 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed down here next to this crater. And finally, in this 2 foot by 2 foot section, the objective marker has been placed down here next to this crater. And now we will roll for the random map deployment, rolling a 5, which is frontline assault. And so on a roll of a 1, 2, or a 3, the Space Wolves will begin to deploy along the top edge of the board, and the Tau Empire will deploy along the bottom edge. And on a 4, 5, or 6, it'll be the opposite. So Space Wolves deploying along the bottom, and Tau Empire deploying along the top. And here's the roll, rolling a 6. So the Space Wolves will begin to deploy along the bottom edge, and the Tau Empire will deploy along the top edge. And now on a roll of a 1, 2, or a 3, the Space Wolves will begin to deploy first, and on a 4, 5, or 6, the Tau Empire will deploy first. Rolling a 5, so the Tau Empire will begin to deploy first. We will be back after the deployment. The deployment is now finished. The Tau Empire began to deploy first, but the Space Wolves finished deploying first, which means that the Space Wolves will receive +1 to the roll-off to determine who goes first. Let's take a quick look around the board at where each army placed all of their units. Beginning with the Space Wolves deployment and going from left to right from the Tau Empire perspective, we have the first squad of 5 intercessors sitting on this objective marker. Repulsor number 1 with a squad of 3 aggressors and a Primaris Wolf Priest embarked inside. The second squad of 5 intercessors also sitting on an objective marker. The Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader. Repulsor number 2, which also has a squad of 3 aggressors and a Primaris Wolf Priest embarked inside. And finally, the squad of Grey Hunters. Moving over to the Tau Empire deployment, also going from left to right from the Space Wolves perspective, we have the first squad of 10 Fire Warriors sitting on this objective marker. The second squad of 10 Fire Warriors, also sitting on an objective marker. The first squad of 10 Pathfinders. This squad has the 3 ion rifles. The first Cadre Fireblade, the second Cadre Fireblade, the Warlord Commander, the second squad of 10 Pathfinders, Storm Surge number 1, Storm Surge number 2, and finally the third squad of 10 Fire Warriors. For this battle report, the Space Wolves will have access to 8 command points, and the Tau Empire will also have access to 8 command points. For a full overview of both armies with all of the war gear that they are bringing, please check out the pregame show, which was released at the beginning of the group. The link for the pregame show will be in the description down below. And so now we will roll off to determine who will go first. The Space Wolves, who finished first, will be the gold and blue dice, and they will have +1 to this roll-off. The Tau Empire will be the white dice, and they will not have any modifiers. And here's the roll. And the Space Wolves roll a 4, which becomes a 5, and the Tau Empire roll a 2. So the Space Wolves will win the roll-off. But now the Tau Empire will attempt to seize the initiative on a 6, and they fail by rolling a 3. So let's go into Space Wolves, turn 1. Going into Space Wolves, turn 1, a reminder that the Space Wolves have 8 command points available, and the Tau Empire also have 8 command points available. Going into the movement phase, this squad of 5 intercessors sitting on the objective marker will remain still. This squad of 5 intercessors, also sitting on an objective marker, will also remain still. This squad of Grey Hunters will have the Wolfguard Terminator Pack Leader remain still, but the 4 regular Grey Hunters and the 1 Grey Hunter Pack Leader will move up to 6 inches, and they are now controlling this objective marker. The closest repulsor will now move up to 10 inches. The second repulsor will also move up to 10 inches. Finally, the Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader will move up to 6 inches. Going into the shooting phase, the Space Wolves will begin with this squad of 5 intercessors firing their Stalker bolt rifles into this squad of 10 Pathfinders, the squad that has no ion rifles. 1 shot apiece for 5 shots total, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds. And they are -2 AP, so no armor save on the Pathfinders. So 2 Pathfinders will go down, leaving 8 left alive in the squad. This repulsor will fire its twin last cannon and its last talon into the closer storm surge, and it will fire its 2 Iron Hail heavy stubbers, 2 crack storm grenade launchers, and 5 frag storm grenade launchers into this squad of 8 Pathfinders. Beginning with the twin last cannon and the last talon together, 4 shots total, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Strength 9 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s thanks to the Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader, getting 1 wound. -3 AP, so 1 4-up invulnerable save, which fails, and it will do D6 damage, and it will do 6 damage. So this Storm Surge will fall from 20 starting wounds down to 14. 6 shots from the Iron Hail heavy stubbers, hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting all 4 wounds. -1 AP, so 4 6-up armor saves, passing 1 but failing 3. So 3 more Pathfinders will go down, leaving 5 left alive in the squad. 2 shots from the crack storm grenade launchers, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 6 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s, and getting 2 wounds. -1 AP, so 2 6-up armor saves, passing 1 and failing 1. So 1 more Pathfinder will go down, leaving 4 left alive in the squad. 5 frag storm grenade launchers with D6 shots apiece, so 5 D6 shots, getting 16 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 12 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 9 wounds and 3 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Getting all 12 wounds. No AP, so 12 5-up armor saves, passing 3 but failing 9. So the final 4 Pathfinders from this squad will be killed off, and that unit is wiped out for first blood. Now this squad of 5 intercessors will fire their Stalker bolt rifles into this squad of 10 Pathfinders. 5 shots total, hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, getting 3 wounds, and they are -2 AP, so no armor save on the Pathfinders. And so all 3 Pathfinders armed with ion rifles will go down, leaving 7 models left alive in the squad. And now the second repulsor will fire its last talon and its twin last cannon into the wounded storm surge, and it will fire its 2 Iron Hail heavy stubbers, 2 crack storm grenade launchers, and 5 frag storm grenade launchers into this squad of 7 Pathfinders. Beginning with the last talon and twin last cannon firing together, 4 shots total, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Strength 9 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 3 wounds. -3 AP, so 3 4-up invulnerable saves, passing 2 and failing 1. So the Tau Empire will use 1 command point, going from 8 down to 7, for a command reroll to reroll the 1. And here's the reroll. And it will still go through. And it will do D6 damage, and it will do 3 damage. So the wounded Storm Surge will drop from 14 wounds down to 11. Now for the 6 shots from the 2 Iron Hail heavy stubbers, hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 2 wounds and a reroll. And here's the reroll. Still failing to wound, so 2 wounds total. -1 AP, so 2 6-up armor saves, and failing both. So 2 more Pathfinders will go down, leaving 5 left alive in the squad. 2 shots from the crack storm grenade launchers, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 6 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s, getting 2 wounds. -1 AP, so 2 6-up armor saves, passing 1 and failing 1. And so 1 more Pathfinder will go down, leaving 4 left alive in the squad. Finally, the 5 frag storm grenade launchers with D6 shots apiece for 5 D6 shots total, getting 16 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 12 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 5 wounds and 5 rerolls. And here's the rerolls, getting 3 more wounds for 8 wounds total. No AP, so 8, 5 up, armor saves. Passing 2 but failing 6. And the final 4 Pathfinders from this squad will be killed off and removed. And that squad is wiped out. The Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader will fire his Stormbolter into the Wounded Storm Surge. 2 shots hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s, and failing to wound. The only weapon in range from the Grey Hunter squad is the Cyclone Missile Launcher from the Wolfguard Terminator Pack Leader, which will fire 2 crack missiles into the Wounded Storm Surge. 2 shots hitting on 3s, both fail to hit. So the Space Wolves will use 1 command point going from 8 down to 7 for a command reroll to reroll the 2. And here's the reroll. And it still fails to hit. Going into the assault phase, there are no charges to declare, which means going into the fight phase, there are no fights to resolve, and going into the morale phase, there are no morale checks to take. At the end of the player turn, the Space Wolves are currently controlling 3 objective markers, which means they will gain 3 victory points. And so at the end of Space Wolves turn 1, the score currently sits at 4 victory points for the Space Wolves thanks to First Blood, and 0 victory points for the Tau Empire. Going into Tau Empire turn 1, a reminder that the Tau Empire have 7 command points available, and the Space Wolves also have 7 command points available. At the beginning of the turn, the Tau Empire are going to use the stratagem Automated Repair System for 2 command points, bring them from 7 down to 5. Use this stratagem at the start of your turn, pick a vehicle or battlesuit model from your army. That model regains D3 lost wounds, and this will be used on the Wounded Storm Surge. And here's the roll, and so the Storm Surge will get 3 wounds back. So this Storm Surge will go back up from 11 wounds to 14. Also at the start of the turn, the Warlord Commander will declare Callion, which will affect himself, both Storm Surges, both Cadre Fireblades, and this squad of 10 Fire Warriors. So going into the movement phase, all of those units just mentioned, which are affected by Callion, will not be able to move. This squad of 10 Fire Warriors sitting on this objective marker will also remain still. Finally, this squad of 10 Fire Warriors will move up to 6 inches. And this squad of Fire Warriors now controls this objective marker, and 3 of the Fire Warriors are technically in the crater. Going into the shooting phase, we will begin with this Cadre Fireblade, which will fire a marker light into this repulsor. 1 shot hitting on a 2 rerolling, getting 1 hit. So this repulsor will go from having 0 marker lights on it to now having 1. And now the other Cadre Fireblade will also fire a marker light into this repulsor. 1 shot hitting on a 2 rerolling, getting a hit. So the repulsor will go from having 1 marker light on it to now having 2. And the Tau Empire will use the stratagem Uplinked Marker Light for 1 command point, bring them from 5 down to 4. Use this stratagem after an enemy unit has been hit by a marker light fired by a model from your army. Place D3+1 marker light counters next to the unit instead of only 1. So we will add D3 marker lights to that repulsor. And here's the D3 roll. Rolling for an additional 2 marker lights, but the Tau Empire would really like 3 additional marker lights in order to bring them up to a total of 5, which would mean they can add 1 to hit rolls. So because of that, the Tau Empire will use 1 command point, going from 4 down to 3, for a command reroll to reroll the D3 roll. And here's the reroll, and they will get a 3 on the D3. So this repulsor will go from having 2 marker lights on it to now having 5. The Wounded Storm Surge will now fire all 4 of its destroyer missiles into the repulsor with 5 marker lights on it, and it will fire its Pulse Driver Cannon, Cluster Rocket System, 2 Smart Missile Systems, and 2 Burst Cannons into the repulsor with no marker lights on it. Beginning with the 4 destroyer missiles. 4 shots total, hitting on 3s, re-rolling, getting 2 hits and 2 re-rolls. And here's the 2 re-rolls, getting all 4 hits. And they do D3 mortal wounds apiece, for a total of 8 mortal wounds. And the Space Wolves will use the stratagem Armor of Contempt for 1 command point, bring them from 7 down to 6. Use this stratagem when a Space Wolves vehicle from your army suffers a mortal wound. Roll a d6 for that mortal wound and each other mortal wound inflicted on this model for the rest of the phase. On a 5-up, that mortal wound is ignored and has no effect. So looking for 8 5-ups. passing 2, failing 6. So this repulsor will fall from 16 starting wounds down to 10. So now the other weapons going into the other repulsor, beginning with the Pulse Driver Cannon. D6 shots, getting 2 shots. Hitting on 4s, rerolling, getting 2 hits. Strength 10 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 3s, and both fail to wound. Next will be the Cluster Rocket System. 4d6 shots, getting 11 shots. Hitting on 4s, rerolling, getting 7 hits and 4 rerolls. And here's the rerolls, getting 3 additional hits for 10 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s. Getting 3 wounds. -1 AP thanks to the Advanced Targeting System, so 3 4-up armor saves. Passing 2 and failing 1. So this repulsor will fall from 16 starting wounds down to 15. 8 shots from the 2 burst cannons, hitting on 4s, rerolling, getting 5 hits and 3 rerolls. And here's the rerolls, getting all 8 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. -1 AP thanks to the Advanced Targeting System, so 2 4-up armor saves. Passing 1 and failing 1. So the repulsor will fall from 15 wounds down to 14. And this will not help the Storm Surge that is currently firing, but the Tau Empire are going to use the stratagem Focused Fire for 3 command points, bring them from 3 down to 0. Use this stratagem after a Tau Sept unit from your army inflicts an unsaved wound on an enemy unit in the shooting phase. You can add 1 to wound rolls for any other Tau Sept units from your army that target the same enemy unit this phase. And this will be placed on the repulsor that does not have any marker lights on it. So finally, the 8 shots from the 2 smart missile systems hitting on 4s, rerolling. Getting 5 hits and 3 rerolls, although technically because 1 dice was rolled separately, because it didn't land in the dice tray, it made the cocked dice no longer cocked. So because of that, I don't want to play favorites or anything, so we will roll a dice. On a 1, 2, or 3, we will keep the result of the 5. On a 4, 5, or 6, we will re-roll it as if it was still cocked. So we will keep the 5. So here's the rerolls. Getting 1 additional hit for 6 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s. Getting 3 wounds because this Storm Surge is not able to take advantage of the Focused Fire stratagem. Only units firing after him will be able to take advantage of it. So getting 3 wounds. -1 AP thanks to the Advanced Targeting System, so 3 4-up armor saves. Passing 2 and failing 1. So this repulsor will fall from 14 wounds down to 13. Now the fully healthy Storm Surge will fire all 4 destroyer missiles into the repulsor with 5 marker lights on it, and it will fire its Pulse Driver Cannon, Cluster Rocket System, and 2 smart missile systems, but not the 2 burst cannons because he's not within 18-inch range, into the repulsor with no marker lights on it. Beginning, of course, with the 4 destroyer missiles hitting on 3s, rerolling, getting 2 hits and 2 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Getting all 4 hits, D3 mortal wounds apiece, and that is only 6 mortal wounds. Thanks to the stratagem Armor of Contempt, rolling 6 dice and looking for 5 ups, and the Space Wolves will save 1 of the mortal wounds, failing 5. So this repulsor will fall from 10 wounds down to 5 left. Now for the Pulse Driver Cannon, D6 shots, getting 6 shots. Hitting on 4s, rerolling, getting 4 hits and 2 rerolls. And here's the 2 rerolls. Getting 1 additional hit for 5 hits total. Strength 10 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 3s, but adding 1 to wound rolls, thanks to the stratagem Focused Fire, so actually wounding on 2s. And that does make a difference, getting 4 wounds. And they are -4 AP thanks to the Advanced Targeting System, so no armor save on the repulsors. And they do D6 damage apiece, and that is 12 damage. So this repulsor will fall from 13 wounds down to 1 left. Next will be 4 D6 shots from the Cluster Rocket System, getting 13 shots. Hitting on 4s, rerolling, getting only 4 hits and 9 rerolls. And here's the rerolls, getting only 2 more hits for 6 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s, but adding 1 to wound rolls, so actually wounding on 4s, and a very good thing for that, getting 5 wounds. -1 AP thanks to an Advanced Targeting System, so 5 4-up armor saves, passing 2 but failing 3, and that will finish off the final wound on that repulsor. So does it explode on a 6? And it will. So the Space Wolves will use 1 command point, going from 6 down to 5, for a command reroll to reroll the explosion result. And here's the reroll, and now rolling a 5, so it will not explode. And all of the models inside will now emergency disembark. And so now this repulsor will be killed off and removed. and the 2 smart missile systems will go to waste. And because the squad of aggressors and the Primaris Wolf Priest emergency disembark, we need to roll a dice for each model, and rolls of 1 will remove models from the battlefield. And not rolling any 1s, so all models will survive. The Warlord Commander will fire his 2 missile pods into this squad of 3 aggressors. 4 shots total, hitting on 2s re-rolling, getting 3 hits and 1 re-roll. And here's the re-roll, getting a 4th hit. Strength 7 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds. And aggressors only have 2 wounds apiece, and these potentially could do D3 damage, so these will have to be done separately, because 1 regular aggressor and the aggressor pack leader are touching the crater, and 1 regular aggressor is not. So strike number 1 onto the regular aggressor in the crater will have +1 to his armor save, but -2 thanks to the missile pod and advanced targeting system. So 1 4-up armor save, which will pass. Strike number 2, 1 4-up armor save, which will fail. And it will do D3 damage, and it will do 2 damage. So the 1 regular aggressor in the crater will be killed off, leaving 2 left alive in the squad. This squad of 10 fire warriors will all fire their pulse rifles at full range into this squad of 2 aggressors. 10 shots, hitting on 4s, re-rolling, getting 5 hits and 5 re-rolls. And here's the re-rolls, getting 3 additional hits for 8 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on 4s, and that's a really bad roll, getting 1 wound. This will go on to a regular aggressor not in the crater, so 1 3-up armor save because there's no AP, and it will pass. This squad of 10 fire warriors will all fire their pulse rifles in rapid fire range into the squad of 2 aggressors. 20 shots total, hitting on 4s. Getting 11 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on 4s. Getting 6 wounds. No AP, but the regular aggressor has a different armor save than the aggressor pack leader, thanks to the aggressor pack leader being in the crater. And we will begin with the regular aggressor. So out of the 6 strikes left, 2 3-up armor saves, passing 1 and failing 1. Out of 4 strikes left, 1 3-up armor save, which passes. Out of 3 strikes left, 1 3-up armor save, which will fail. So the 1 regular aggressor will be killed off, and this will leave 2 strikes left onto the aggressor pack leader, so 2 2-up armor saves, passing 1 and failing 1. So the regular aggressor will go down, leaving just the aggressor pack leader alive in the squad, and he will fall from 2 starting wounds down to 1 left. Finally, this squad of 10 fire warriors will have all of the pulse rifles, except for this one in the back, fire at full range into this lone aggressor, and the lone fire warrior in the back who is out of range of that aggressor will fire his pulse rifle at full range into this repulsor. And we will begin with the 1 shot into the repulsor, hitting on a 3 re-rolling 1s, getting a hit. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on a 5, and it fails to wound. Now for the 9 shots into the aggressor pack leader, hitting on 4s, getting 6 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on 4s, getting 5 wounds. No AP, but +1 thanks to the crater, so 5 2-up armor saves, passing 4, but failing 1. And the Space Wolves had already used a command reroll to stop the repulsor from exploding, so they cannot attempt to reroll this, which means that the aggressor pack leader will lose his final wound and be killed off. And that squad is wiped out. At the end of the shooting phase, both storm surges will deploy their stabilizing anchors. Going into the assault phase, there are no charges to declare, which means going into the fight phase, there are no fights to resolve, and going into the morale phase, there are no morale checks to take. At the end of the player turn, the Tau Empire are currently controlling 3 objective markers, and so they will gain 3 victory points. And so at the end of Tau Empire turn 1, the score currently sits at 3 victory points for the Tau Empire and 4 victory points for the Space Wolves. Going into Space Wolves turn 2, a reminder that the Space Wolves have 5 command points available, and the Tau Empire have 0 command points available. Going into the movement phase, this squad of 5 intercessors sitting on this objective marker will remain still. The second squad of 5 intercessors, also sitting on an objective marker, will remain still. This squad of Grey Hunters, sitting on an objective marker, will remain still. This Primaris Wolf Priest will move up to 6 inches. This repulsor is down to 5 wounds, so it will move up to 5 inches. Finally, the Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader will move up to 6 inches. Going into the shooting phase, the Space Wolves will begin with this squad of 5 intercessors, which will fire their stalker bolt rifles into this squad of 10 fire warriors. 5 shots hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits. Strength 4 versus toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, getting 3 wounds. Minus 2 AP, but these will all go on to fire warriors that are touching the crater, so they will get to add 1 to their saves. So 3 5-up armor saves, and failing all 3 anyways. So all 3 fire warriors who were touching the crater will go down, leaving 7 left alive in the squad. This repulsor will fire its twin last cannon and its last talon into the wounded storm surge, and it will fire its 2 iron hail heavy stubbers, 2 crack storm grenade launchers, and 5 frag storm grenade launchers into this squad of 7 fire warriors. Beginning with the twin last cannon and the last talon firing together, 4 shots total, hitting on 4s. Now that it's down to 5 wounds, getting 2 hits. Strength 9 versus toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting a wound and a fail. But the Space Wolves will use 1 command point going from 5 down to 4 for a command reroll to reroll the 2. And here's the reroll. Getting 2 wounds, minus 3 AP, so 2 4-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 and failing 1. And it will do d6 damage, and it will do 6 damage. So the Storm Surge will fall from 14 wounds down to 8. Now for the 2 Iron Hail Heavy Stubbers, 6 shots total, hitting on 4s. Getting 4 hits. Strength 4 versus toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 2 wounds and 1 reroll. And here's the reroll. Getting a 3rd wound, minus 1 AP, and no more cover save, so 3 5-up armor saves, passing 1 and failing 2. So 2 fire warriors will go down, leaving 5 left alive in the squad. 2 shots from the crack storm grenade launchers hitting on 4s, getting 2 hits. Strength 6 versus toughness 3 means wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s, getting 2 wounds, minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up armor saves, and failing both. So 2 more fire warriors will go down, leaving 3 left alive in the squad. Finally, the frag storm grenade launchers, d6 shots piece for 5 d6 shots total, getting 17 shots, hitting on 4s, getting a pretty bad hit roll of only 4 hits. Strength 4 versus toughness 3 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 3 wounds. No AP, so 3 4-up armor saves, passing 2 and failing 1. So 1 more fire warrior will go down, leaving 2 left alive in the squad. The Primaris Wolf Priest will throw a crack grenade into the squad of 2 fire warriors. 1 shot hitting on a 3, and it hits. Strength 6 versus toughness 3 means wounding on a 2, and it wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 1 5-up armor save, which passes. The only weapon from the Scray Hunter squad that has range to fire will be the Cyclone missile launcher from the Wolfguard Terminator pack leader, which will fire 2 crack missiles into the wounded Storm Surge. 2 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 1 hit. Strength 8 versus toughness 7 means wounding on a 3, rerolling 1s, and getting a reroll. And here's the reroll, now getting a wound. Minus 2 AP, so 1 4-up invulnerable save, which will pass. The second squad of 5 intercessors will fire their Stalker Bolt rifles into the wounded Storm Surge. 5 shots hitting on 3s, and rolling 5 4s. So all hit. Strength 4 versus toughness 7 means wounding on 5s, getting 3 wounds. Minus 2 AP, so 3 4-up invulnerable saves, passing 2 but failing 1. So the Storm Surge will fall from 8 wounds down to 7. Finally, the Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader will fire his Storm Bolter at full range into the wounded Storm Surge. 2 shots hitting on 3s, and both fail to hit. Going into the assault phase, there is 1 charge to declare, which will be from the Primaris Wolf Priest into this squad of 2 Fire Warriors. But the Fire Warriors will get to Overwatch first, beginning with the Fire Warrior Shazwi, which will throw Photon Grenade, which is d6 shots, getting 3 shots, hitting on a 5-up, and all fail to hit. Finally, the 1 Pulse Rifle from the 1 regular Fire Warrior, 2 shots in rapid fire range, hitting on 5-ups, getting 1 hit. Strength 5 versus toughness 4 means wounding on a 3, and it fails to wound. And here's the charge range, rolling 11 inches. And even after subtracting 2 inches for charging through a crater, a 9-inch charge is more than enough to make it in. Going into the fight phase, the Primaris Wolf Priest will fight first against the Fire Warriors. 4 attacks base with the Crozius Arcanum, hitting on 2s, rerolling. getting all 4 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 3 means wounding on 3s. Getting 2 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 2 5-up armor saves, and failing both. So these final 2 Fire Warriors will be killed off, and that squad is wiped out. And now the Primaris Wolf Priest will consolidate slightly. And going into the morale phase, there are no morale checks to take. At the end of the player turn, the Space Wolves are currently controlling 4 objective markers, which means they will gain 4 victory points. And so at the end of Space Wolves turn 2, the score currently sits at 8 victory points for the Space Wolves and 3 victory points for the Tau Empire. Going into Tau Empire turn 2, a reminder that the Tau Empire have 0 command points available, and the Space Wolves have 4 command points available. Going into the movement phase, the entire Tau army will remain still. Going into the shooting phase, we will begin with this Cadre Fireblade, which will fire a marker light into the repulsor. 1 shot hitting on a 2, and it fails to hit. So now the will attempt to fire a marker light into the wounded repulsor. 1 shot hitting on a 2, and it will hit. So this repulsor will go from having 0 marker lights on it to now having 1. The fully healthy Storm Surge will fire its pulse driver cannon into the wounded repulsor. It will fire its 2 burst cannons and its 2 smart missile systems into this Primaris Wolf Priest, and it will fire its cluster rocket system into this squad of Grey Hunters. Beginning with the pulse driver cannon, D6 shots, getting 4 shots. Thanks to the stabilizing anchors, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, getting 3 hits and 1 reroll. And here's the reroll, getting a 4th hit. Strength 10 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 3s, and all fail to wound, and the Tau have no command points. Now for the cluster rocket system into the squad of Grey Hunters. 4 D6 shots, getting only 7 shots. Hitting on 3s, getting 4 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s, and all of those fail to wound. What is up with the dice today? 8 shots from the 2 burst cannons into the Primaris Wolf Priest. Hitting on 3s, getting 7 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s. And finally, something wounded, getting 5 wounds. Minus 1 AP, but plus 1 thanks to the crater, so 5 3-up armor saves. Passing 2, but failing 3. And so the Space Wolves will use 1 command point going from 4 down to 3 for a command reroll to reroll the 2. And here's the reroll, still failing the 3-up armor save. So the Primaris Wolf Priest will fall from 5 starting wounds down to 2. Now for the 8 shots from the 2 smart missile systems, hitting on 3s. Getting 5 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s. Getting 3 wounds. Minus 1 AP and smart missile systems ignore cover, so 3 4-up invulnerable saves, passing 1 but failing 2. So this Primaris Wolf Priest will lose its last 2 wounds and be killed off. Next, the wounded Storm Surge will fire, and after watching the fully healthy Storm Surge fail to do anything to the repulsor, the wounded Storm Surge will not take any chances and will fire its pulse driver cannon, cluster rocket system, 2 burst cannons, and 2 smart missile systems, all into the wounded repulsor. Beginning with D6 shots from the pulse driver cannon, getting 3 shots. Thanks to the stabilizing anchors, but being down to only 7 wounds, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting 2 hits. Strength 10 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 3s, getting 1 wound. Minus 4 AP thanks to the advanced targeting system, so no armor save on the repulsor, and it will do D6 damage, and it will only do 1 damage. So the repulsor will fall from 5 wounds down to 4 left. 4 D6 shots from the cluster rocket system, getting 13 shots. Hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, getting 7 hits and 2 rerolls. And here's the 2 rerolls, getting 1 additional hit for 8 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s, getting 4 wounds. Minus 1 AP thanks to the advanced targeting system, so 4 4-up armor saves, passing 3 and failing 1. So this repulsor will fall from 4 wounds down to 3 left. Now for 8 shots from the 2 burst cannons, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. wounds. Getting 3 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s. Getting 2 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 2 4-up armor saves, passing 1 and failing 1. So the repulsor will now fall from 3 wounds down to 2. And finally, the 8 shots from the 2 smart missile systems hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. Getting 5 hits and 1 reroll. And here's the reroll, still failing to hit, so 5 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s. Getting 1 wound. Minus 1 AP, so 1 4-up armor save, which passes. The Warlord Commander will now fire his 2 missile pods into the wounded repulsor. 4 shots total, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. Getting 3 hits and 1 reroll. And here's the reroll. Getting a 4th hit. Strength 7 versus Toughness 8 means wounding on 5s. Getting 1 wound. Minus 2 AP thanks to an advanced targeting system, so 1 5-up armor save, which fails. And it will do D3 damage, and it will do 3 damage. So does the repulsor explode on a 6? And it will not. So now all of the units inside will emergency disembark out in front. And so now the repulsor will lose its last 2 wounds and be killed off. And because there was an emergency disembarkation, we need to roll a dice for each model, and rolls of 1 will have models removed. And 1 model will be removed. So 1 regular aggressor will go down, leaving 2 left alive in the squad. This squad of 10 fire warriors will fire their pulse rifles into the Primaris Wolf Priest. 7 of the fire warriors are in rapid fire range, and are also within 6 inches of a Kadra Fireblade. So 24 shots total, hitting on 4s. Getting 12 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s. Getting 8 wounds. No AP, so 8 3-up armor saves. Passing 4 and failing 4. So the Primaris Wolf Priest will fall from 5 starting wounds down to 1 left. Finally, this squad of 10 fire warriors will all shoot their pulse rifles at full range into the wounded Primaris Wolf Priest. 10 shots hitting on 4s. Getting 5 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s. Getting 3 wounds. No AP, so 3 3-up armor saves, passing 2 and failing 1. So the Primaris Wolf Priest will lose its last wound and be killed off. Going into the assault phase, there are no charges to declare, which means going into the fight phase, there are no fights to resolve. And going into the morale phase, this squad of aggressors lost 1 model this turn. However, the aggressor pack leader has a leadership of 8, and therefore it is impossible for them to fail. At the end of the player turn, the Tau Empire are currently controlling 2 objective markers, which means they will gain 2 victory points. And so at the end of Tau Empire turn 2, the score currently sits at 5 victory points for the Tau Empire and 8 victory points for the Space Wolves. Going into Space Wolves turn 3, a reminder that the Space Wolves have 3 command points available, and the Tau Empire have 0 command points available. Going into the movement phase, this squad of 5 intercessors sitting on the objective marker will remain still. This squad of 5 intercessors sitting on this objective marker will also remain still. This squad of Grey Hunters will remain still. The Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader will move up to 6 inches, and he will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll. Rolling 5 additional inches. So the Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader will move up to 11 inches. Finally, this squad of 2 aggressors will move up to 5 inches. Going into the shooting phase, the Warlord Wolfguard Battle Leader is out of range to fire. The only weapon that will be able to fire from the squad of Grey Hunters will be the Cyclone Missile Launcher from the Wolfguard Terminator Pack Leader, which will fire 2 crack missiles into the wounded Storm Surge. 2 shots hitting on 3s. Getting a hit and a miss. But the Space Wolves are going to use 1 command point going from 3 down to 2 for a command reroll to reroll the 1. And here's the reroll. Getting a second hit. Strength 8 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s. And a good thing too, getting 2 rerolls. And here's the rerolls. Now getting 1 wound. Minus 2 AP, so 1 4-up invulnerable save, which fails. And it will do D6 damage. And it will do 1 damage. So the Storm Surge will fall from 7 wounds down to 6. Now this squad of intercessors will fire, however only these 3 we'll be able to see into the Wounded Storm Surge. 3 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 1 hit. Strength 4 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on a 5, and it fails to wound. Now this squad of 5 intercessors will fire their Stalker Bolt rifles into the Wounded Storm Surge. 5 shots, hitting on 3s. Getting 4 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 5s, getting 1 wound. Minus 2 AP, so 1 4-up invulnerable save, which passes. Finally, the squad of 2 aggressors will fire their Flamestorm Gauntlets into the Wounded Storm Surge. 4 D6 shots, getting 19 shots. This weapon automatically hits, so 19 hits. Strength 4 versus Toughness 7 means wounding on 5s, getting 5 wounds. No AP, so 5 3-up armor saves, passing 3 and failing 2. So the Storm Surge will fall from 6 wounds down to 4 left. Going into the assault phase, the squad of 2 aggressors will declare a multi-charge onto the 2 Cadre Fireblades. This will mean that both Cadre Fireblades, the Warlord Commander, and the nearby squad of 10 Fire Warriors will all be able to overwatch. And of course, the primary target is going to be the closest Cadre Fireblade, which is the one that's also right next to this Storm Surge, just for clarification. And we will begin with that primary target, Cadre Fireblade, who will attempt to throw a photon grenade. D6 shots, getting 6 shots, hitting on 5s and 6s, and getting 2 hits, so the aggressors will have to subtract 1 from hit rolls for the remainder of the turn. The non-primary target Cadre Fireblade will now fire his pulse rifle, and he is within rapid fire range of course, so 3 shots, hitting on 5s and 6s, failing to hit. The commander will fire his 2 missile pods, 4 shots total, hitting on 5s and 6s, getting 1 hit. Strength 7 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on a 3, and it wounds. Minus 2 AP thanks to an advanced targeting system, so 1 5-up armor save, which passes. Finally, all 10 Fire Warriors are within 15-inch rapid fire range, so 30 shots total, hitting on 5s and 6s, getting 8 hits and 1 cocked dice. And here's the reroll on the cocked dice, still failing to hit, so 8 hits total. Strength 5 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on 4s, getting 5 wounds. No AP, so 5 3-up armor saves, passing 2 but failing 3. So 1 regular aggressor will be killed off, leaving just the aggressor pack leader alive in the squad, who will fall from 2 starting wounds down to 1 left. And now for the charge range, getting 9 inches. And 9 inches is more than enough to make it in. And he is now locked in combat with both. Going into the fight phase, we will begin with the aggressor pack leader placing his attacks onto the non-primary target, Cadre Fireblade. 3 attacks with the Flamestorm Gauntlet, subtracting 1 thanks to the photon grenades, and also subtracting 1 from hit rolls thanks to being a Flamestorm Gauntlet, but adding 1 thanks to charging and being a Space Wolf unit. So 3 attacks hitting on 4s, and all fail to hit. And so now the 2 Cadre Fireblades will attack back, beginning with the primary target Cadre Fireblade. 3 attacks base, hitting on 3s, and all of them fail to hit. So now the non-primary target Cadre Fireblade will attack back, 3 attacks base, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 3 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on 5s, and getting 2 wounds. No AP, so 2 3-up armor saves, and passing both. Going into the morale phase, the aggressor pack leader lost 1 model this turn, however he has leadership of 8, and so it is impossible for him to fail. At the end of the player turn, the Space Wolves are currently controlling 3 objective markers, and so they will gain 3 victory points. And so at the end of Space Wolves turn 3, the score currently sits at 11 victory points for the Space Wolves, and 5 victory points for the Tau Empire. Going into Tau Empire turn 3, a reminder that the Tau Empire have 0 command points available, and the Space Wolves have 2 command points available. Going into the movement phase, both Storm Surges will remain still. The Warlord Commander will move up to 8 inches, and he will also declare an advance. And here's the advance roll, getting an additional 5 inches. So the Warlord Commander will move up to 13 inches. This Cadre Fireblade will fall back out of combat. Now this Cadre Fireblade will fall back out of combat. This squad of 10 Fire Warriors sitting on the objective marker will remain still. And finally, this squad of 10 Fire Warriors, also sitting on an objective marker, will remain still. Going into the shooting phase, the Tau Empire will begin with the fully healthy Storm Surge, which will fire its 2 burst cannons and its 2 smart missile systems into the lone aggressor pack leader, and it will fire its pulse driver cannon and cluster rocket system into this squad of 5 intercessors. Beginning with the attacks into the lone aggressor pack leader, beginning with the 2 burst cannons, 8 shots total, hitting on 3s. Getting 6 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 5 means wounding on 4s. Getting 4 wounds. Minus 1 AP, so 4 up armor saves. Passing 2 and failing 2. So the lone aggressor pack leader will lose its last wound and be killed off, and the 2 smart missile systems will go to waste. Now for the pulse driver cannon into the intercessors, D6 shots. Getting 6 shots. Hitting on 3s. Getting 4 hits. Strength 10 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 2s. Getting 3 wounds. Minus 4 AP thanks to the advanced targeting system, so 3 6-up armor saves thanks to the crater. Passing 1 and failing 2. And they are D6 damage apiece, and the intercessors have 2 wounds apiece, so these have to be done separately. Strike number 1 will kill an intercessor, and strike number 2 will also kill an intercessor. So 2 regular intercessors will go down, leaving 3 left alive in the squad. Finally, the cluster rocket system, 4 D6 shots, getting 14 shots, hitting on 3s, getting 11 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s, getting 8 wounds. Minus 1 AP, but plus 1 thanks to the crater, so 8 3-up armor saves. Passing 5 and failing 3. So 1 more regular intercessor will go down, leaving 2 left alive in the squad, and the final regular intercessor will fall from 2 starting wounds down to 1 left. The Warlord Commander, who did advance, will fire his 2 missile pods into this squad of 2 intercessors. 4 shots hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Strength 7 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s, getting 1 wound. Minus 2 AP, but plus 1 thanks to the crater, so 1 4-up armor save, which will fail. It will do D3 damage, but that will not matter. So the final regular intercessor, who is down to 1 wound, will be killed off and removed, leaving only the intercessor pack leader alive in the squad. The wounded Storm Surge will fire its pulse driver cannon and cluster rocket system into the lone intercessor pack leader in an attempt to finish it off, and it will fire its 2 smart missile systems into this squad of Grey Hunters because they are just within 30-inch range. Beginning with the pulse driver cannon, D6 shots, getting 4 shots, hitting on 5s thanks to being down to only 4 wounds, and with the help of the stabilizing anchors, getting 2 hits. Strength 10 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 2s, getting 2 wounds. Minus 4 AP thanks to the advanced targeting system, but plus 1 thanks to the crater, so 2 6-up armor saves, passing 1 and failing 1, and it is D6 damage, and it will do 6 damage. So the intercessor pack leader will lose his 2 starting wounds and be killed off and removed, and the cluster rocket system will go to waste. So now for the 2 smart missile systems, 8 shots total, hitting on 5s, getting 1 hit. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on a 3, and it fails to wound. This squad of Fire Warriors will shoot their pulse rifles into this squad of Grey Hunters, although only 5 of them are in range. 5 shots, hitting on 4s, getting 2 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s, getting 1 wound. No AP, and this will go into a regular Grey Hunter, so 1 3-up armor save, which passes. And finally, this squad of Fire Warriors will shoot their pulse rifles into this squad of Grey Hunters, although only 6 of the models are in range. 6 shots, hitting on 4s, getting 3 hits. Strength 5 versus Toughness 4 means wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds. Both of these will go on to regular Grey Hunters, no AP, so 2 3-up armor saves, and passing both. Going into the assault phase, there are no charges to declare, which means going into the fight phase, there are no fights to resolve, and going into the morale phase, there are no morale checks to take. At the end of the player turn, the Tau Empire are currently controlling 2 objective markers, which means they will gain 2 victory points. And so at the end of Tau Empire turn 3, the score currently sits at 7 victory points for the Tau Empire and 11 victory points for the Space Wolves. Going into Space Wolves turn 4, a reminder that the Space Wolves have 2 command points available, and the Tau Empire have 0 command points available. And at this point, the Space Wolves are going to concede the game. Neither side will achieve Slay the Warlord, and neither side will achieve Linebreaker. However, we do need to add in the kill points, and the Space Wolves managed to successfully destroy 3 full Tau units, so they will gain 3 victory points and go up from 11 to 14 total victory points, and the Tau Empire fully destroyed 7 Space Wolves units. So the Tau Empire will go up from 7 victory points to 14 victory points as well. And so we will have a major victory for the Tau Empire thanks to a concession from the Space Wolves at the beginning of Space Wolves turn 4. And so now that the game is over, I can go over 1 or 2 of my final thoughts on this particular game. First and foremost, of course, is the major reason for concession, which might seem a little odd considering the fact that at the end of the 3rd battle round, with kill points included, the armies were tied. However, thanks to knocking the Space Wolves off of one of their objective markers, the Space Wolves will now only be able to control 2 objective markers each turn, unless they want to expose their Warlord. And the other issue is this objective marker right in front of the camera, which the Warlord Commander is moving towards. In Tau Empire turn 4, the Commander is within 11 inches of the center of that objective marker, which means he can move 8 inches without advancing and then control this objective marker, which means that the Tau will start to gain 3 victory points each turn. The other issue is that the Space Wolves will be incredibly lucky to get any more kill points. Maybe if the dice actually roll properly for once, they would maybe be able to finish off the final 4 wounds on the Wounded Storm Surge and get that kill point. However, I would say it's far more likely that the Tau will be able to kill off either the squad of Great Hunters or the other squad of Intercessors first. And of course, as we've seen throughout the course of this game, while there have been a few good rolls on both sides have had far more terrible rolls. And the Space Wolves especially have had a number of bad rolls. How many times did either side wound with a powerful weapon and have a chance to do D6 damage and only ended up doing 1 damage? I know that happened at least once for the Space Wolves, possibly twice, and I know it happened at least once with the Pulse Driver Cannon from the Tau Empire. And even if the Space Wolves in their 4th turn managed to kill off the Wounded Storm Surge, the fully healthy Storm Surge is more than enough firepower to do some significant damage. I will say the game started off very well for the Space Wolves, which was both surprising and exciting, because based off of previous games, I did not expect it to be that close right from the get-go. I also did not expect them to be tied at the end of the 3rd battle round in terms of victory points. From what we've seen of the Storm Surges, I expected a lot more destruction right away. So it was good to see a closer game than I originally expected. However, the Space Wolves are now on the decline, and the Tau Empire are on the rise. And at this point, it looks like it would be incredibly difficult for the Space Wolves to be able to reverse that. So I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.